question I have had with Hanon specifically is, how do you go about doing Hanon, especially if you don't have a lot of time in a day? So I'm going to describe how I teach Hanon to a younger student, and I think any student of any level or age who's wanting to do this and is interested in Hanon and its benefits, how they would do that. So first of all, when I have a student learn Hanon, they usually have worked through all their 5-finger patterns, or pentachord 5-note scales, if you will. They've done all of that, which is the and I love the Hanon because for me it is one of the greatest warm-ups I know. If I have to be out on the stage performing and I have been running around all day teaching and going from rehearsal and I have not had a sufficient warm-up, I will usually do 5 minutes of Hanon. I start slow and then kind of work it up 5 or 10 minutes, and I can usually feel like the blood is flowing and that my muscles are loosening up, and that's very important to me. A lot of people have different ways of warming up. My daughter was a gymnast, and I remember her coming home, and she used to have 4-hour-a-day workouts and on her team, and she would come home and describe how that entire first hour was their warm-up, where they would stretch and do all of that, and they didn't consider doing some of their amazing moves until they were all the way stretched and warmed up and ready to go. So I believe in warming up, and for me, Hanon is one of the best ways to do that, knowing that we need to start a little slower, and again, I'll talk more about that. What I do is, depending on the level of the student and where they are, when I teach them, I usually start with junior Hanon, which has them do the exercises. It only goes up and down 1 octave. They're written in 8th notes, and so I find that suits elementary level students very well. And I work through exercises 1 through 10 until they have it at a pretty good clip. So I will teach them 1 exercise at a time, 1 per week usually, up through 10. Then when we get back to 1, I do 2 exercises together, and then we do that. And every time we get back to 1, we go up a little bit more. And I'm always working on their finger position, their wrist, that nice, loose, flexible wrist. And then we do that. Once they can play the junior Hanon 1 through 10 up to 120 quarter note, and they're playing in 8th notes, then I move them on to the next level, which is to go to the regular Hanon, where they're written in 16th notes, and then we take that. I still focus on exercises 1 through 10 for a very long time, because it covers a whole myriad of patterns and rotation, which I love to teach rotation, and the flexible wrist. And then we do that again, 2 exercises at a time, starting with 60 on the metronome, 4 notes per tick. And then every time you get back to number 1, you just move up a notch or 2 on the metronome. And we go through all of that, and then and the goal is to get it to 120. Now in the Hanon book it says, I believe the goal is 108, and of course that's what Hanon put in. It's up to you and what we want to do. I find 120 is a great goal. It's a nice benchmark, and that we have that, and then we go back to number 1 and keep moving on. Once they can do 1 through 10 at 120, then I start helping them learn the rest of the exercises, which are 11 through 20 and then 21 through 31. With most students, I don't go much past 31, but again, that's how I was trained. There are Hanon exercises later on in the book which I use the octave exercises and the alternating octaves, the diminished sevenths and dominant sevenths, and there's a lot with repeated notes and so on and so forth. So we can find that. This is my approach to Hanon, and I welcome, again, any questions that you may have that I can answer. Thank you.